back to my YouTube channel. In today's vlog, we're just going to be going through some simple things that I've been doing this week, which will create some new greeting cards with my handmade papers. So I've got some of them here. So that was quite fun to start doing, and I'm going to be taking these into the shop at some point. So yeah, this was fun to make different ones there from my papers. And then I'm also going to be taking in some of the books that I wrote some time ago, children's books, and I'm going to be putting those in the shop as well. So if you're interested in any of these, just let me know, because I have a small sample of these left. I'm also going to be taking in these characters that I created. These are also with handmade papers, painted papers, framed. They're a little bit two-dimensional so that the koi fish is floating in the frame a little bit. So I've got two of them that I'm going to be taking in, and I'm going to be taking a really big stag painting that I have that I've had for a while now, and I wanted to have that displayed in the Scottish Design Exchange as well. So hopefully we'll be able to get that up in the window at some point, and it would be great to take a picture of that as well. So yeah, my week, I've just been going along trying to organize myself as usual, trying to think about what it is that I want to achieve. So working towards all those things step by step. I wanted to point out also, like, I have this book on Amazon as well, which I wrote, and it's the first in the trilogy. So it's called The Scarecrow Murders, and it's an original book. And this is Origins, the first one. So that is available on Amazon as well. I'll put the link below in my description so you can have a look and see what you think of that. But I'm in the process as well of trying to write the second and the third book for that. So always keeping myself busy and seeing the different mediums I can use to basically like tell the story that I have for each subject matter. So yeah, I'm having fun doing different things, and I will let this go on to the next segment of this vlog for today, for this week, which is my continuing to try and work on my illustrative work, ideas and things, and trying to get more into like illustrating children's books like these are. So I will, yeah, I'll pass us on to that segment where I'm basically just talking as I am creating another digital piece. It's not the same one as last week, which I thought I would have been doing, but I thought I should just make it a bit more exciting than doing the same one 2 weeks in a row. So I will dip in and out of the different illustrations. Also this week I have ordered some stickers and some notepads, which is the first time I've done that. So we'll see what they look like when they come. And hopefully that'll be one way of me starting to create more of the kind of brand that I want to do. I really like, I think, that aspect of stationery, because I think they are items that are quite affordable for most people, and it's a way of my art getting to people as well. And these ones that are handmade ones are even more special in that, you know, each piece is cut and will be completely different. So that's the fun part of it. But I really want to be able to share like stationery. So I'm going to try the notepads and see what it looks like. And I can't wait for that to come, because I created a very quick illustration just to get a sample kind of look. And you can kind of, you can order a very small number as well, so which is quite good to see what it looks like. And once I see what they look like, and if I like them, then I will order some more, because I have some other templates that I've already created that I would like to try out as well. But I've been getting little emails telling me that they're on their way, so that's very exciting. But yeah, I want to do more things. I want to do calendars. I want to do different kind of planner things as well. So I want things that I create to be more functional. So we'll see how that goes in the planning. So functional, telling stories like storybooks, which are functional. You know, kids love all that kind of stuff, and listening to adventures by other different characters. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just push on to that again in the following week, and more weeks to come. But yeah, I have an appointment next Tuesday to be in the Scottish Design Exchange. So after my school run, I'll be going straight into Glasgow City Centre to tidy my space and to rearrange things if they need to be, and then just to put in, like I said, the books that I'm taking, like these little ones. So I'll be taking them in, and that'll be fun to see how I figure out how to display that. I have so many items in there that I'm not taking as much as I used to take into the shop anymore, because yeah, things are slow in general, but for people, and I know that it's definitely hard at times. But I mean, a birthday card is not too far, I think, to stretch. But yeah, so these were fun to make, and I can't wait to make some more, which I should probably try doing the rest of this afternoon, because I've done 21, age 21, and I'm thinking down to, is it 11? I've not done 10. I've done down to 11 here, but I'll do 10 down to like 1, and then I will see what else I do for the rest of today. But yeah, I'll see you in the next segment where I start talking about my process working with my illustration that I'm working on. Well, hi guys, and in this part of my vlog for this Friday, I am wanting to share again some more of my illustrative process. And at the moment, as I'm working through this stage that I'm discussing my illustrative work, I'm still kind of what would the word be, carving out some ideas for the approach I want to take in producing like storyboards and example covers for storybooks, and a variety of stories, so that I can have a really interesting portfolio on my website. And so I'm just working through the doing. In the doing, I find that I get a lot of really amazing things happen. And in this illustration, what you can see is that I am sketching out a scene with a girl and a dragon, and there's another character that turns up later on, but what happens with that character is I don't actually get to paint that one in this time that I have on the vlog here, but you will see the character when it transpires. So yeah, it's in the doing I'm finding that it's just a lot of fun. So I tend to really get into my drawings. I really enjoy the process. And I used to only draw in black and white. So when I'm sketching these characters out, I'm adding the shadows, I'm adding the textures in the different patterns that I'm putting on the character. And when I do different parts of the character, I really just love the way that the simple line creates that dynamic look. I'm really trying to dig into that aspect of getting my quality of coloring really high. That's something that I know is going to take time, but I'm willing to put that time in. So I'm just going through the process. As I said, I'm adding the different aspects that I think will make the illustration interesting. Here I'm doing the time lapse so that I can kind of see what my progress has been. And I like doing that now and again, just to rest my hands a little bit and to have an overview of the progress I've done. So I'm starting to add color in, and because there's nothing in the background, I'm feeling free to go with a stereotypical green dragon color here. So I selected a few colors from my palette, and I have started putting that in. At every point, these colors can change, and that's what I've always had for everything. No matter what it is that I'm doing, the colors can always change. We have such a huge variety of colors in different mediums, and I refuse to be restricted. But with digital work, it allows you to access these colors a lot easier than if you were buying, other paint that you have to squeeze from the tube, the traditional paints. So that's one area where the digital has been a joy for me, because when I had my kids and they were really young and I couldn't necessarily just go off into the studio and paint, and I didn't want them eating the paint, then the digital side of it really, really helped me to develop my drawing skills and using the tools that I use to actually get my drawings to a place where I've discovered my style, I feel, in the way that I approach my artwork. So before the digital, my sketching, my drawing was the tool that drove whatever I did. And here's the thing with the traditional approach, with the sketching and the drawing, if you are going to now put color over that, apart from my circumstances of having a kid um, and not wanting him to eat paint at that time, or the children not kind of following me into a studio space and yeah, painting the walls with the paint or anything. The digital side actually allowed me to experiment with color. As I said, I used to just use black and white, and if I used the traditional paint, you know, when you make those mistakes and things, it can be harrowing to try and figure out how to save your work. Though it is a process. I mean, obviously, different artists have done that in that way, but my circumstances did not really allow me to be able to explore at the time that I was in. I mean, as a young mum, that was just not a possibility for me to spend the time experimenting with the different paints and really taking my time and delving into that. But with the digital, I was able to, you know, even if my child was feeding, I could still be drawing with my other hand and on my digital pad, or if my child was asleep, I could work on something and very easily detach myself from it because it's digital, other than having to clean my brush and make sure that things were put away. So that it really helped me to dig into my creative side and to have that alongside my motherhood aspect of things. So yeah, it to me it really helped me. So and then when I now came back to being able to spend the time with my traditional paints and mediums, because my kids were older, I found that the way I approached my paintings, because I'd spent the time being able to create, was a lot more efficient. So I don't see, I mean, I feel like all the mediums cross over in the way that I use them. And so I'm always kind of training. I feel like it's like having joints, different joints in your body, for example. And when you're constantly using them and exercising them, then there is a certain level of efficiency in how you wield those tools, just at the spare of them, at the drop of a hat, kind of thing. So you're very flexible to be able to be creative regardless of what's in front of you when you try out different mediums. So I heavily encourage that. I know that for some people with mediums that are more labor intensive, for example, oil paint, that you could always work on more than one painting, but oil paints that are more you have to wait for the paint to dry and all those things. It's like you spend more time if you want to get into the detail with oil paint than you would with other mediums. So it's a good thing to be flexible, is what I'm saying. So and to know your different tools and when to use them, and depending on the urgency of what it is that you're creating. So yeah, I mean, I did lose my train of thought there. I was going to say something else with that, but yeah, I mean, I just think that being able to illustrate, which is where I'll get back to, and creating these characters is going to be fun. I really want to dig into that and see where I go with creating characters that I love, learning more about my trade. Yeah, I think I remember now what I was going to say. I was going to say that, yeah, for some of the mediums that are more labor intensive, I would say like oil paint, where you wait for it to dry. You can work, like I said, repetitively now on multiple canvases if you have the space, but you can always basically, while you're focusing on such an intensive process, use other mediums as like that title of hobby. You can put them under the title of hobby, to be able to experiment with other mediums, and not make them as serious a focus when you are creating, so that you don't feel the pressure of instantly making something, of whatever level of value. So I think that the best way to look at different mediums, if you use one specific one and there's other ones out there, is to leave that space to try them out as a hobby. So if you're someone who focuses a lot on traditional painting techniques, then you could always just look at the digital creativity as a hobby. So you can then slowly try, working on different projects with it, and not make it a big thing. Because there is a lot involved in that. You need to learn what icons on the top of it or tabs kind of work with what. And but I think understanding the general painting process, it's not that hard to do it, because it's basically the same. The layers, that's how they work. They're the same process of working from the back to the front, adding the highlights and everything like that. So that's the way that I try and approach it. But of course, another aspect is that my approach with my digital work is bringing in that similar process of like mixed media. So for some people, when they're painting in a digital world, they will focus on airbrushes, for example. So there's different tools to use in digital work, and some people will focus only on the airbrush. I like to mix my brushes and get different textures, and really see where I can go with layering even in the digital. So yeah, I really love my textures, and mixing different brushes and techniques even in my digital. So one of the tools I love with digital is the Alpha Lock, because it just, and I use it in this process not long from now, and it's just an amazing tool, I feel, and I know I'm going to use it so much more, because it allows me to add so many textures and so many layers. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I think getting back to this painting, I have this character. I always have characters that have some kind of an animal with them, because I really love my nature. And then there are these kids who basically, it's like the parents have said, go out and play. And they're doing all sorts of stuff that the parents have no idea about. And that is the essence of what my characters are like. They are having wondrous, and I mean wondrous, not just wonderful, wondrous adventures, and in their imaginary world. And we are privy to seeing these stories play out. And that's the way I approach my storytelling. Yeah. So with this one I'm making here, actually, I would like to put some words with it, because I have like a vague idea of what I think is going on. But once you lock down the actual text of the conversation, of the scene, of what's going on, and you play around with the words and try and embody what you think this conversation, as an illustration, is about, then that's when it really, I think, solidifies what it is that I'm looking at. For me personally, in that illustrative storytelling part, because as I was saying, it's kind of to have samples for storytelling. And so I will need to have the words to tell the story as well, and see if, the audience, if the clients, if the viewer actually can understand what it is that I'm putting down as well. So I will be doing different things where the scenes will be quite, what's the word, dramatic, or peaceful. I just want to try different approach of creating scenes in an illustrative manner. So those are all the ideas I have, just to kind of get different emotions, of my characters on the actual page. And that's the fun part I'm having right now. And then I might just get my local printers to print out a whole set of pages for me so that I can have a look at them, because you can do things digitally, you can do things on this format and then not really still get a full understanding of what you've created. So it's really good to sometimes get a printout and see what it looks like physically. So yeah, this has been fun to paint this character. As I said, I love the sketching process, so now working through this painting process is usually painful for me because I have too many options on colors and textures, and I love my colors. So what I usually do is I'll go quite extreme and very saturated, and just dream. I will dream on a page. So once I've dreamed on the page and I feel like, okay, maybe I should pull some of it back, then that's when I pull it back. But I will dream to the extent of what I think I'm seeing, and think I'm illustrating. So, and then I will work from there. So some things, when I'm illustrating like this, you might see and think, oh, okay, what's that about? Or you might question it. But I might later on change it, because nothing is ever necessarily permanent when I'm creating something. I just want to make sure that what I have in my head, if I haven't found a way to replicate it in the physical, then I know I can store it away because I've tried it. And maybe later on, like some weeks later, it might click as to what I should do with that specific part of the scene. So I'm always learning. It's amazing the possibilities that you can dream on a page. So yeah, if you are interested in digital paintings, just let me know. As I said, it just starts from a sketch and you dream on the page. And once you have done that, then the world is your oyster, really, because you can play around with so many things. Here I'm using the alpha lock, and I'm able to go back and forth without touching the front part of that color. And I'm trying to build in some really dramatic clouds, and I go back and forth seeing what I like and don't like. So it's fun to be able to do these things. It's really fun. I don't know how to express the joy I get from being able to tell stories and share my ideas with people. And being able to illustrate digitally has just helped me a lot. And I can do it anywhere as well. So I could be on the train, on a bus, anywhere. You could be in office, at work, in your lunch break, and you can illustrate, and it's just really amazing. I was kind of thinking for this scene of having something in the distance. As you can see here, I was trying to put some buildings in the distance, then I've tried to put this boat, and I wasn't really convinced about it yet. So I'd need to research that a little bit more. So I just go back to working on trying to add trees into the background. So you can see here where I'm trying to add trees, but obviously the wing is in the way, and I don't feel like it's really translating very well. But I have to try it to see if the ideas I'm thinking of work. So you see me kind of like going back and forth a this bit, trying to add trees and thinking, nope, don't like it, don't like it. So yeah, I basically end up figuring out a way to do it, but it takes a while. But that is one of the fun parts of working digitally. As a tool, you can undo a lot more easier than if you were doing a traditional painting. So as I'm looking at this scene, I'm trying to balance the blue in the sky with the blue in the trees. I'm trying to see how they look as I'm putting the tree bark. And these trees I actually discovered the style of doing when I created one of my first children's books illustrations. I illustrated a friend's book for her, and the trees, this was kind of how I went about doing the trees, in this kind of ghostly uh, pale colors, and then with a really strong white down the middle, which reminds me of like birch trees. So yeah, thank you for being here today, and I'll leave it here, and I'll see you in the next Friday vlog. Bye.